at this point in time, when I arrived back to Puerto Escondido, Baja Sur, just south of Loreto, I found the Albatross, an old schooner that was built in the 1930s, sunk right next to my boat. And it made me think, you know, what kind of bummer the guy must be in that owns the boat. The Albatross was quite a beauty in its day, and the owner had kept her up pretty well, but as you can see right here, there's barnacles growing up on the mast, and it had been in the water approximately 2 months. So what I'm trying to do here is just show somebody else that might have a sunk boat somewhere how to get her up off the mud and refloat her and save the vessel if you can. Sometimes, you know, if you're in a surf break or something like that, you almost have to say bye-bye. But here we were in a marina setting, and it was very laid down, no wave action. And what the owner, Michael, is doing right there is he's sinking drums, which will later be filled up with air. And there's Captain Ray. He's the diver on this project, and he's going to go down and attach the barrels to the hull, and then start lifting her up out of the mud. It's quite a job. In the United States, they have big bladder bags that makes the job a lot easier than the Mexico way, which is barrel after barrel after barrel being filled up and attached to the keel and lifted up very carefully, because if you get too much air on one side or the other, it'll have a tendency to roll. So you want to go from one side to the other side as you're putting air into the barrels to make sure that she just comes up straight up. So this is the raising of the Albatross. Here's another photo with barrels in place, just about ready to get her up to where they can drag her over to the seawall. And this is when it's real dangerous and precarious at the same time, because at this point you could lose her and she could roll on a diver or who knows. So it's a slow process, and you're going to see here how she drug over to the seawall, and then this is a picture of the Albatross next to the seawall, and you can see some of the barrels have floated from out of position. She was carefully moved over to this area. And now it's up to the owner, Mike, to start using a pump to pump out the remaining water that's in the boat, and then muck it out and get all the stuff that was inside taken out, so she'll float around to the travel lift and then be able to put her on the hard. So this is a picture of the owner right here, right now, pumping water out. You can see the barrels are very high in the water, and he's pumping it out, getting ready to float her around the corner into the travel lift. It's another shot of the Albatross up against the seawall. You can see the barnacles. It's been underwater for like 2 months. All that wood is just soaked. And this is why she sunk. There's some seams that look like they were kind of wide, and that's a good reason why she might have sunk, just from the seams being open. She was left unattended for maybe 5 or 6 months. Who knows? A bilge pump might have just gone out and not done the job. So here is a picture of the Albatross, pumped out. Barrels are still attached because she's still taking on water. And we're going to go around to the travel lift over here at Puerto Escondido. Singular has a good-sized travel lift. Yeah, so there she is, back out of the depths where she was sunk. You can see she's got some beautiful lines, even with all that stuff that she's dragging around with her, all those barrels. He'll keep the barrels in place until he gets over to the travel lift, just to make sure she stays floating. And here we are in front of the travel lift. You can see a couple guys in a dinghy just pushing her over that way. It was a real calm day. Had to wait for the winds to die down. And now the barrels are being released, and she's getting ready to go onto the travel lift from here. Mind you, she's still taking on water, so it's kind of a timely situation here. Now, following this clip, I've tried to draw how the barrels are put in place, and what the technique that is used, being we don't have the big bladder bags down here, is one 55-gallon drum on the bow and on the stern, and also on the other side, on the starboard side, you'd be doing the opposite thing of what we're doing on the port side. So you'd be going from one side, port to starboard, port to starboard, port to starboard with your barrels, and trying to create ballast to get her off the bottom that way. So that's all this this drawing is kind of showing, that we start at the stern and the bow on both sides at the same time. One side, one the other side, one, you get the gist. And now the barrels themselves are tied to a chain that is around the keel. The barrels are typical. They have two holes at the top of each barrel, and then they are sunk down below the surface with water. The water is put into the barrel to bring it down to the bottom of the hull, and then compressed air is that's the chain down there that you see me drawing. And then compressed air is, again, from port to starboard, from bow to stern, working towards the beam. The lines that are tied to the chain are a good quality marine type rope, because you've got some tremendous pressure on these barrels when they're filled up with air. So you want to use a good rope, and then you just tie that to the chain before you start inflating the barrel. And it can get real precarious here. I watched the whole process and tried to make this video so I could show you the process in the event, in the unfortunate event that something like this might happen to you. This is the way to get her up off the bottom. So I hope you've enjoyed or have gotten something out of this little video of raising the albatross, and can put it, file it somewhere in the back of your mind if this ever happens to you someplace in time. Like I say, hopefully not. You'll know what to do. So this is it. Alrighty, that's it. Happy trails, and thanks for watching.